Hey, YouTube, happy Saturday to you, man. Hope you're having a fantastic day. It is biscuits and gravy day around our house. That makes me a happy man. Hope whatever you're doing today, your day's going great. Hey, man, just wanted to do a follow-up to the video that I posted almost a week ago about budget guitars. Is this a craze? Is it a fad? Is it the real deal? That video got a lot of response from a lot of people, and so it seemed to me like we were on to something. So I thought I'd follow that video up with this video. What I want to talk about in this video is budget guitars with modifications. Worth it or waste of money? So what I want to do is just share my story with you and a couple of tips on buying budget guitars and modifying them, what you need to be aware of, some factors for you to consider, a cost comparison, and then raise the question, worth it, not worth it. And so again, in my heart, there's no brand judgment. I'm not trying to trash anybody or anybody's preference. Buy what you want, play what you want, dig what you dig. My little video here is not a threat to you and your little private world, right? So you rock on with your bad selves, and I mean that completely sincerely. So there's no axe to grind on my end. I don't care if you buy a FireFly or don't, or whatever it is, Westcreek or not. I don't care about that. That's none of my business. That you do you. But I'm just letting you know that there's no preference for me. I get no financial benefit from anybody anywhere to say anything to you. I'm just an old cat talking guitars and life. But I do think it's a good question. You know, buy a budget guitar, make a bunch of modifications to it. Is it worth it or is it a waste of money? So I'll share a little bit about my journey with you. Before I do that though, let me say this just sort of as a concept. If you're going to buy a budget guitar and you're going to make modifications, okay, you need to know how to do that work. So here's what I mean. If you're not the kind of person that can or wants to learn how to or has the skill set to swap out pickups and pots and file nuts and frets and swap tuners, if you don't know how to do those things, do not buy a budget guitar that needs modification. And here's why I say that. If you don't know how to do that, then what's going to happen is that you're going to end up buying a budget guitar, and then you're going to have to take it to somebody to fix it. And you're going to spend immediately $150 more than you paid for the guitar. You might as well just go buy the brand name thing. By the way, the brand name guitar, whatever guitar it is going to need a setup. So learn how to do that yourself. If you don't know how to do that, you're just going to end up paying somebody else to do it, or every playing experience you have is going to just not be enjoyable because the guitar is not going to act the way that you want it to act all the time. So sidebar on that. So what I'm going to say assumes a couple things. One, it assumes that you know how to do the work or you're willing to learn how to do the work. It also assumes that you have a basic set of tools. You have some screwdrivers, you have some, the truss rod adjustment tools, you have some files for addressing frets, you have a soldering iron if you're going to be swapping out any electronics. So there's some assumptions built into this. Okay, so let's walk through this. So I have a Squier Classic Vibe that I paid $450 for from the box store. Actually, I bought it from Fender on clearance for like $450. That guitar, I spent hours working on the frets. I'm not exaggerating. They were bad, okay? Now, they weren't all bad, but there were 3 or 4 of them that just gave me fits, man. Oh, it was awful. But I did the work, and I'm proud of the work I did, and the guitar plays well and is set up nice today. But just know that a $450 guitar, I had to put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears myself in the fretwork. I did not farm that out. Had I farmed it out, I would have spent $150, given to somebody else. I could have bought the Player Series, right? You feel what I'm saying? Okay, so The second thing is, that guitar I did modify because I like locking tuners and I like brass compensated saddles, go-to particularly, and so I put those on it. So I'm probably, you know, close to $600 for that guitar. That guitar isn't any better than this guitar. I'm just telling you straight up. Now this guitar has been a trip and a ride for me. Those of you who have been to the channel, you've seen me complain about this guitar and praise this guitar and whine about the guitar and do jumping jacks about how great the guitar is. It's been an emotional experience, and I understand that. But I did want to walk through it. So on the one hand, if you're considering budget guitars with modification, worth their waste of money. So on the one hand, I bought the brand name for $450, and I put a little bit of money into it. But let's say I didn't put a little bit of money into it. Let's say I kept the tuner stock, I kept the saddle stock, they were fine. I did the fretwork, didn't cost me anything, just time and patience, blood, sweat, and tears. So $450. This guitar is a FireFly FFTL, and because of factors that I don't want to get into today, because they are well documented on my channel, due to the sandblasting material on all the electronics, I've replaced nearly everything on this guitar. The only thing stock to this guitar is the body, the neck, that nut, and this bridge plate. Everything else, and the control panel plate, sorry. Everything else, all the electronics, every other moving part, everything other than what I just said, is brand new. Okay, $350. Now, truthfully, I had some of these parts laying around. I had the string trees laying around. I had the pure tone input jack laying around. Okay, so I didn't pay money for those, but what I did is this morning I went out and I made a list, because I may or may not have another budget guitar coming tomorrow that I'm going to use as a project guitar that you may or may not see in some other videos down the road. But so I went out and I made my shopping list. Now again, I don't have the guitar. I don't know what it needs, but I made a basic Telecaster if I need to switch everything list. Okay, so let me go through the $350 for you. So one, I paid $185 for the guitar, $187 something. And again, when I buy a budget guitar, what I'm looking for is good bones. I'm looking for a good body and a good neck. That's really all I need. Everything else is negotiable. Now, I did have an interest in 22 stainless steel frets, and I do. Feel free to butcher me in the comments, like the rounded fret ends. I know not everybody likes them. Not all the fret ends go to the edge of all the fingerboards of all the guitars, and all the imports are doing it, and blah, 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 blah. But that's what I was looking for, 22 stainless steel frets. I was looking for a rosewood fretboard. I was looking for a roasted maple neck. I was looking for a traditional body, and it's kind of a traditional headstock, and was pleasantly surprised to find that on this one. It has a contour in the heel joint, but other than that, it's pretty traditional and has all those appointments. Okay, now, good body and good neck. Those are bones, okay? So let me start with the guitar. What did I do? Where's $350 come in? Okay, one, locking tuners. Now, this guitar, and again, my caveat is, on this particular FireFly, because of the way the guitar was Relic, the tuners were bad. And so I replaced them. I actually got a refund from Guitars Garden. They replaced them. More adequately spoken. 35, 40 bucks, tuners. String trees. String trees, whether you get the Graphtec or whatever kind of guide, 15 bucks. I had those laying around, but if I went on Amazon and bought a set, 15 bucks, somewhere in there. This guitar had plastic ferrules. I couldn't dig plastic ferrules, man. So I spent $8 and got some chrome metal ferrules for the guitar. I didn't have to do anything to the nut, so I haven't. However, if I did replace the nut, that's somewhere around 15 bucks. And again, whether you get a bone nut or a Graphtec, there's going to be some variation in cost. But if you went and got the Graphtec synthetic nut, you're looking at 15 bucks. Okay, come down to the body of the guitar. Goto brass compensated saddles, 15 bucks. I throw them on every guitar, every Telecaster I've owned except one. In that guitar I used Wilkinson and they were pretty good. But Goto is my go-to on the saddle deal. So I put in the compensated brass saddles. I've replaced the pots. I've replaced the switch. It's not a Grigsby switch. It's like a Musicali switch. It's like a $12 switch. And guess what it does? It switches. And it's perfectly fine. Okay. I even got a capacitor and put that in. I had a pure tone jack laying around that had I purchased would have been 10 bucks. So pots, 10 bucks, capacitor, 6 bucks, 11 bucks on the switch. The pickups were only $40. Pure tone jack, 10 bucks, and I got cloth pullback wires and I replaced every wire on the guitar just because I wanted to. I wanted the experience. Okay, now, the thing to keep in mind about this is you may not need to change everything. Okay, like, so for example, on this guitar, I don't think I'm touching that nut. I still might, but right now, it seems fine to me. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So, I may or may not swap that out. Had this had ferrules in it, I clearly wouldn't have bought new ferrules. Maybe in your budget guitar, the pots are okay. Maybe they're full-size 250 pots, or maybe they're dime-sized pots, and even though they're dime-sized pots, they work for you. You know what? Rock those dime-sized pots. That's what I say. Don't let anybody play you like you've got to have full-size this, you've got to have it. No, you don't. All you need is what you dig, right? So if you've got a sound that you're looking for, you do you. All right, so as it relates to that, as I'm thinking through this this morning with you, you may not need to replace every moving part, okay? So maybe you don't replace the pots, the capacitor, the switch, and you put a little bit more money into beefier pickups. I don't know what kind of pickups you like. These are 40 pickups. They're fine for me. You may want to spend 70 bucks on Tex-Mex pickups. You might want to spend $300 on specialized custom pickups. I don't know what you want to buy. But I'm just saying, to replace everything at a budget quality part level, $350. Okay? Now, is it worth it? To me, absolutely, positively. Why do you ask? All right. So let me break it down for you. For me, the learning experience of taking this guitar apart and replacing everything was just phenomenal. The satisfaction that I have of picking this guitar up and playing is indescribable to me. It's like no other guitar that I've picked up. I mean, I could play it and I can know I did this. And the stuff that doesn't work, guess what? I did that too. And that's just a really great feeling, man. I mean, so the learning experience, the satisfaction, the fellowship that I'm having with so many of you, man, who are walking on this journey and making comments and making recommendations and sharing your journeys, man. What great stories you guys have. And I love hearing all that. It's great fellowship, and there are so many good people who've helped me personally. Two Bike Mike and J-Man and Oldest Rocks and others who've given me straight up recommendations and a lot of encouragement when I was really in the valleys of this particular guitar, man. Thank you guys so much for that. It's been great. So, Matt, what about you? What's been your experience with buying a budget guitar and modifying it? And what did you think about it? Was it worth it for you? Was it a waste of money? Just let us know in the comments how that worked out for you. Would you do it again? I may or may not have as I said, a budget Tele coming tomorrow. I'm gonna pick apart and do all the things to it. So, hey man, I'd just love to hear your journey. What do you think? Is it a waste of money? Is it a waste of time? Or is it worth every penny? For me, it's been worth the time, and it's certainly been worth the money. And well, wherever you are in your guitar journey, hope you have a safe trip, man. Rock on with yourselves, and I'll catch you down the road.